please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. I am Dr. Ed Weiner, Chairman, Burlington Board of Health, and with me this evening, Vice Chair David McSweeney, Andrea Sheehan, member, Gail Demore, member, and Mary Beth Welch, also member. With us this evening is professional staff, Susan Luminello, our Director of Public Health, Michael Green, our Associate Director of Public Health, our Environmental Engineer, Christine Mathis, also Marlene Johnson is with us, our Health Agent, and our Recording Secretary, Eric Bergeron. Please note that we are live on and will be taped by BCAT and available for appropriate comments and questions. It's video technology. And as always, thank you for BCAT for what you do for this community, keeping us all aware and so well informed. Thank you for coming to our health fair last weekend. We have approval of minutes. Have any minutes this evening? Brings us to Chairman's report. These have been and continue to be the weeks of the Board of Health. Not only are we regularly involved with inspections, all kinds of reviews, complaints, administrating medicines, answering questions, but we have been additionally involved in health promotion and safety program, especially these weeks past and weeks coming up. So let me bring you up to date a number of events, remind you of another soon that's going to take place. Our large shared grant with Lexington and Wilmington is quickly gearing up. Hired a part-time nurse, community outreach professional, and an epidemiologist. Last week, we held an annual and highly successful, amazing health fair. Next week, June the 3rd, Board of Health semi-annual Household Hazardous Waste Day will be held. Just to remind everyone, at a new venue, the Fox Hill School. A lot more on that later. And as I've noted many times, the Board of Health touches, in some way, every person in this community every day. I also want to please ask for your patience this evening. We have a couple of hearings, and we have to go through some very specific actions as we do it. And be patient tonight. Susan and I have met a couple times, and I think I got it right. But we'll soon see what happens. Any comments from anybody? If not, subcommittee reports. Who is going to give a subcommittee report this evening?
Well, we were both going to speak. Do you want to start? Sure, I'll just give a highlight, and I really wasn't sure how much of a review because it's on the agenda as discussion, so very high level. On May 10th, Gail and I met with Susan, Jeremy Brooks, Martha Simon, Sarah was there, and we discussed this potential review or change in the citizens' time. And we could decide to keep things as they are. We could make change to the time and set a limit, or we could eliminate it all. We came away from that with several discussion, learning from Martha and Jeremy what the other boards were doing, and Susan, and we came back with a recommendation that we'd like to discuss with the rest of the board this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. Brings us to variance. Corporate chefs at 25 Mall Road, unattended food establishment. And I'm assuming that our health agent, Marlene Johnson, will be handling that.
And this is Landry, is the person in charge at this location. And so So I want to give a quick background of what an unattended food establishment is. So an unattended food establishment is an operation typically located in office buildings, restricted break areas where access by the general public is somewhat restricted. These operations frequently offer packaged, time temperature control for safety foods and time temperature control for safety foods, products that are displayed in a refrigerator unit, food racks, baskets, and/or countertop display units. Unattended food establishments may also be equipped with microwave ovens and offer automatically dispensed hot and cold beverages. The one common characteristic of these operations is that they lack the presence of a on-site person in charge. So the variant, so representatives from corporate chefs, it's Mr. Landry here tonight, would like to receive Board of Health approval for a variance from 105 CMR 590.003, which is Food Code Section Chapter 2, 101.11. That reference is the requirement of having a person in charge be present at the food establishment during all hours of operation. So corporate chefs, they would like to operate without a person in charge during a specific time period. So the people who work in the building have requested to be able to have access to food off hours. So the cafe is open for breakfast and lunch. I think you said 6 a.m. to
7:30 to 1:30.
7:30
operating hours.
1:30. So after that period of time, if somebody's working late, or if they come in on the weekend, they want to be able to get something on the refrigerator or have some packaged foods there. They have their own system as far as payment goes. We don't get involved with that. We just want to make sure that if there's a problem with equipment, that somebody's going to be notified, that somebody is coming periodically to make sure that they're checking the food. So the same level of protection. So the Massachusetts Department of Public Health Food Protection Program provides local boards of health with a guidance document for unattended food establishments. And this was prepared by the Conference of Food Protection. And this document was provided to corporate chefs to establish a written food safety plan for the unattended food establishment. I have reviewed and approved their written plan. And by following their procedures that are outlined in their plan, the same level of protection can be achieved. So I just want to point out, you'll see their letter requesting the variance, and then you'll see I think yours is color. They actually took that document and they added in how they propose to meet that requirement. And so, as I said, I did review this, and they did a very good job. And my recommendation to the board is to approve the unattended food establishment variance for chefs at 25 Burlington Mall Road with the following conditions. So corporate chefs at this location shall follow their approved written plan, which is attached, for minimum requirements for an unattended food establishment. This variance is for the location noted above. Any additional proposed unattended food establishments within the town of Burlington will require a separate written plan and variance. Violations of this variance may result in an appearance before the Board of Health and may result in a temporary suspension of the food permit. Continued violations may result in the revocation of the variance by the Board of Health. And then in the event of an imminent or threat of a health hazard, the Board of Health may suspend the food permit without a prior hearing as outlined in 105 CMR 590.014A. And so I put that in there because if nobody is there and we have to suspend the permit, just want them to be aware of that. And if you have any questions for,
Yes, I have.
Three?
Would you like to say anything before we start the question?
I apologize for my less than formal attire. I'm actually catering the community design workshop right now, and as soon as I'm done with this, I gotta go there and clean it up. So I'm still on the clock, so apologize.
Uh,
Mr. Chair,
Sure, please.
Marlene, I saw your recommendations. I'm very familiar with this in any corporation I worked at. And I'm assuming we must have others, or is this the first coming in front of us?
this is the first one. We had, the chairman might remember, we had somebody come way back. But they got approved, but they never went forward with it.
Oh.
So this is technically the first one in the town.
I don't have any questions or recommendations of mine, and I'm very familiar with it.
Just one question. So and it wasn't clear in the documentation, but is the person or people that are there between 7 and 1:30, are they in charge of this program too on a daily basis?
The people that they're there during the operating hours?
Yeah.
Yes, that would be me, and yes. Yep,
So you would check expiration dates, make sure it's stacked?
intake the deliveries, rotate as needed.
Awesome, thank you.
Anybody else? I have one question. In your corporate chef's document under H, it says, it is the duty of corporate chefs to report any concerns of tampering, theft, or unauthorized entry to the property manager for surveillance review. Who do you report to? It doesn't say.
I'd be Don Fortenbacher. He's the property manager for Piedmont. If there was something serious, obviously, we need to get the authority.
I would like some type of with Marlene's permission, or Marlene's, that you report any food tampering or unauthorized food issues to the Board of Health, that you report to us.
So we'll
It's like
add that in.
5, just that we need to know if there's any tampering of food or anything of that sort. A quick call to the Board of Health is necessary.
I can add that in.
Thank you very much. Is that all right with you? I go with my professional's advice.
Fine. They've been around for a long time. They're very professional. I know they'd be calling us. Kimberly Beal is the district manager, yeah. So, but I'll be happy to put that in.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the corporate chef, the variance for corporate chefs at 25 Burlington Hall Road, unattended food establishment. With
Motion
the amended change.
with the 5
the chair.
conditions.
Second.
Second by Mary Beth Welch. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
500. You're all set. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Appreciate it.
Now we're going to go into 2 hearings. And
Permit.
No,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I skipped over that. Permit 4 Marjorie Road, keeping of animals. Is somebody here for that? I'm sorry. I went afoul.
Never been here before, so this is.
Please.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I think you also skipped citizen time. Oh, let's remind you if that happens, so I'm.
Yeah, I
don't-
did.
But we
Let's
can
go
do it
through
after.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I do it. I've done that before. Mm.
Something's wrong.
So you want to keep chickens?
I would like to, yes.
Who's going to present this?
I can present this. So an inspection was conducted by Samantha Hardy, our Associate Health Inspector for the Burlington Board of Health on May 17th. And the following were found to be in compliance with the Burlington Board of Health minimum standards for keeping of animals regulation. The coop design, it was the proper square footage per number of hens that are proposed, proper ventilation, proper setbacks, manure management plan does not cause a nuisance, turf management plan, reseeding grass if needed, and feed storage plan does not attract pests. So the recommendation for the board is to vote to approve the keeping of animals permit for 4 hens for Ally and Stephen Shale at 4 Marjorie Road with the following conditions. Notify the Board of Health in advance before increasing the number of hens. Do not purchase or acquire a rooster or cockerels. Renew the keeping of animals permit 30 days before the expiration date. Allow the Associate Health Inspector to schedule and conduct an annual compliance inspection. And this permit is approved for the applicants noted above and is non-transferable. And violations of this permit may be subject to penalties as noted under Section 9 of the Burlington Board of Health minimum standards for keeping of animals. And you received a copy of this via email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Johnson. We'll keep chickens? Any questions?
No, the property sketch is awesome.
Yeah, we did a nice job.
Professional.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
One quick question. Are you planning on having rooster recordings?
I'm sorry.
That's like, we are too. There was another keeper of a permit who felt that they needed to play recordings of roosters every morning.
Oh,
Thinking of doing that.
I was not planning on doing that, no.
Thank you very much. I just had to ask that question. I'm sorry, you can't make this up.
Okay,
I have no objection. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to
Second.
approve by Andrew Sheehan, second by Vice Chair David Sweeney. All in favor?
hi.
All set.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for coming in.
Member Mary Beth Welch kept me honest this evening. I skipped something. I skipped citizens' time. I do. Thank you for reminding me. Is there anybody here who is not on the agenda who would like to speak to this board? Is there anybody online?
No.
There's nobody online. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Got to get my paperwork in order here for this one. We have a hearing, two hearings. We need to go into a hearing to talk about a sale of tobacco violation. I need a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
A motion by Ms.
Second.
Welch, second by Mr. McSweeney. I got to do a roll call. David McSweeney,
Aye.
Andrew Sheehan,
Aye.
Gail Demore,
Aye.
Mary Beth Welch,
Aye.
and I vote aye, 500.
Is this part of the state guidelines?
This is the state guidelines for this type of situation. We have to do it this way. Are you going to present this?
So, yes, I can. Why don't we start with, let's see, Burlington Sitco.
Yes, then I have to close, we have to close it, then we discuss it.
So Liz, are you
Please.
come right up here and sign in, please?
Please state your name for, although we've met this.
Abdullah Abdullah, Burlington Sitco.
Thank you, Ms. Abdel.
So we had a contractor conduct a tobacco compliance. And this is a gas station with a retail store on Bedford Street. And the violation happened on May 1st. A package of Marlboro cigarettes, which I have the evidence here, was sold to a person under the age of 21 during the inspection. The regulation, Burlington Board of Health Regulations restricting the sale of tobacco and vape products, section 4(1), tobacco sales to a person under 21 years old. This section of the regulation incorporates the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 270, Section 6, and 105 Code of Massachusetts Regulation 665. Therefore, the following penalties apply. Because this is the first violation within a 6-month period, 3 year, a fine of $1,000 already issued by the Board of Health and suspension of the tobacco products permit for 3 consecutive business days. Above, I listed the hours that this establishment is open. Actions by the Board of Health following testimony, the question before the Board of Health is whether a sale to a person under the age of 21 occurred. If the board determines that a sale has occurred, they should determine the date to begin the permit suspension of 3 consecutive business days. In addition, the permit holder shall be notified that according to section 14(7) of the regulations, all tobacco products shall be removed from the establishment upon suspension of the permit. So I want to mention all your tobacco products and vape products, you have to take them out of your store.
Yeah.
You can't put them in a trash bag and put them in the back room, or just put them in the back room and lock it. They actually have to be taken off site. You can bring them home. You can bring them to another location if you have another store temporarily, okay? Failure to remove all tobacco products shall constitute a separate violation. Do you want me to read the recommendation or do you want to have Tess?
I have to mention that we don't have the legal authority to lower any penalties. This is a state violation and we have no input in what happens except what the state. What the Board of Health will be asking is, was there a violation or not? That's the only question we ask. And was there a violation? Did someone sell?
Somebody sold, yes.
So somebody sold. That's all you hear. That's all we have to ask. And you,
So with that said, my recommendation to the board is to start the 3-day suspension on Thursday. Want to give him tomorrow to make arrangements to get the product off site and make any arrangements with staff that he may need to do. So Thursday, May 25th, 2023. So that'd be the start of business. What time do you open on Thursday? 6 a.m. So start 6 a.m. 6 a.m. And ending at the close of business on Saturday, May 27th. What time do you close on Saturday?
8.
8 p.m.
so
And tobacco products may be sold on or after Sunday, May 28th.
So the Burlington Citgo has agreed that they did sell, so it's a tobacco violation as per the state. From that, I need to close unless there's anything else you'd like to say?
No, my guy made a mistake. He's been working with me for 10 years. I retrained him. He was upset about it.
Or he was?
He was very upset about it because he's been working with me for 8 years. So,
We find no pleasure in doing
Yeah.
this. We find no pleasure either.
and I don't have too much cigarette. I only have like 10 brand cigarette. No chewing tobacco, no e-cigarette, just my regular customer.
Thank you, Mr.
But
So with
Made a mistake, we have to
So I'm
pay
going
for
to
it.
close the hearing now. Do I have a motion to close the hearing as
So moved.
so moved? Motion by Mary Beth Welch to close the hearing, second by Andrea Sheehan. I got to do roll call again according to the state. Mr. McSweeney?
Aye.
Ms. Sheehan? Mr. Maury? Ms. Welch?
Aye.
And I vote aye also, so it's 5-0. We're closed. Now we go into discussion, and discussion is that the dates are appropriate.
Yes.
He's agreed to the dates.
And I do have the order here that I'll give to him before he leaves. And I also have the notice that he can post right on his door. I have 2. I don't know how many doors you have, but it needs to be on the doors.
So now we have to vote to, is it uphold?
Affirm or dismiss the penalty. And you can have discussion on the dates. And
Do we have a motion to affirm the penalty?
I'm not sure I understand that. So
Yeah.
I thought we
I
had
thought we
no
just did.
leeway to.
We just
change.
have-
No, you just opened and closed the hearing. The hearing is the testimony.
Yeah.
Now you have the discussion and now, so you have to determine, I mean, this is an easy.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just trying to understand procedurally.
Oh.
Yeah, like, I thought we had no leeway
Yeah.
to change
We
the
don't.
fines.
We don't, but we just,
Oh, but you're,
change the dates.
what you're determining is whether or not it occurred.
Oh.
So affirm the violation or not.
I got you, because he could have disputed that it
He
happened.
could have disputed it and then you,
Us to,
a lot of discussion.
to us
you
to
understand.
So you could either affirm it,
judges, I guess, right?
dismiss it, or like if you thought it didn't happen, or you could, ask for additional testimony and continue. So those are the 3 choices that you have in the matter.
Gotcha.
And then the only thing you,
One of us.
Sorry?
What's that?
Said they're in front of us.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
No, I wasn't
I-
questioning
no.
that happened. I was questioning the procedure around it.
Before we have the discussion to start.
I don't think you can, right? Susan?
Can't.
That's the order.
This is the order that has to be done.
right. And then, so then the thing that you can discuss is the dates. So if you decided to change the dates, if he said those dates, they don't work, then you could change the dates. You just can't change.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
3
Understood. Gotcha.
consecutive
So
days.
you have a motion. I can second. That's fine.
Who made the motion?
I think Mary Beth made, or
It's
Andrea,
Mary Beth,
somebody.
Second
Yeah.
by David Sweeney. What was it?
No, not to close. This is for,
This is for affirmation, okay? Do I have to roll call? I guess I do have to roll call too.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to do,
Didn't say,
doesn't say.
okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Coming in,
Sorry about that.
and we understand. Please, we don't want to see you again.
No, hope not.
Not for this.
No.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
So, but that was, if we wanted to say, let's do it next week instead of this week or whatever, which I'm not.
Wanted to say you wanted more testimony.
Right, I get you. That was during that.
correct.
Okay.
Or we could, or if the proponent said,
I
we
didn't
didn't sell,
do it,
I
yeah.
didn't do it,
Prove to me that.
prove to me,
Right.
and we had testimony, we could vote not to.
Gotcha. I understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I would know that in advance too,
Yeah.
if they were going to
If you were gonna
contest it.
contest it, yeah.
And would have probably the contractor here and maybe even the person who.
Right. As
We have to
witnesses.
talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Marlene, is Bimsky here?
Yes, if you would call them. up.
Yes, please. Would Bimsky Premium Cigars please come before us? Thank you for coming.
Hello, everyone.
We have another hearing for the sale of tobacco violation. I need to open the hearing. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Motion to open.
Motion hoping by Andrea Sheehan, second. Second by Mr. Mori. All in favor? Again, I have to do roll call according to the state. David McSweeney.
Aye.
Andrew Sheehan, Dale Demore, Mary Beth Welch.
Aye.
And I vote aye, 500, which now will bring us to our health agent,
Okay.
Marlene Johnson.
It's Mr. Patel, correct? Okay. Mr. Patel is here representing Finsky Premium Cigars. So this is a tobacco store versus a retail store. Same date, May 1st. Person under 21 was sent into the store and was sold a package of cigars, cigarillos. Evidence is here. And also, because this is a first violation, a fine of $1,000 already issued by the Board of Health staff and suspension of the tobacco product permit for 3 consecutive business days. And I won't read the actions by the Board of Health, but my recommendation is also to start the 3-day suspension on Thursday. And I just want to ask him a question. Where you're a retail store, would you be closing the store? Or will you open the store and sell other items that are
So we will be close the store.
going to close it? Okay, that makes that easy. What time does the store close on Wednesday night?
So we close at 9 o'clock,
Okay,
9 PM.
okay. And what time does it open in the mornings?
9 AM.
9 a.m. Okay, so starting Thursday, May 25th at 9 a.m. Until the end of business on Saturday, so 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 p.m. closure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 9 p.m. So they would be allowed to reopen on Sunday, May 28th,
Yes, ma'am.
regular business hours.
Now, as I said before, the Board of Health has no legal authority to lower the state penalties, except to set up the times that you will close, when you will suspend your operation for 3 days. You're a new store in town. So,
We are really sorry. Actually, what happened was supposed to be not happen. It was a new employee. We trained him very well. The day incidents happened, I come to know in my knowledge, we went and check up all the cameras and everything. We gathered all the employees, we retrain everybody. We don't want this thing to be happen ever again, because this is something which we take it strictly on all our location. And we are really feel sorry what happened, and we are taking over everything to this situation would never happen. And on that thing, like as we mentioned, like I know what we happened, we already paid like fine and everything, and we are prepped to close the store for 3 days. because we don't want to come back in this situation. This is a learning lesson for us and our employee whole team, these things. And we are pretty sure this will never happen again.
Well, the penalties for a second is what?
$1,000
$1,000.
and suspension for
If I know,
days.
we get no pleasure in this. We have to make sure that people underage don't buy.
On by things. And
Tobacco.
our priority. That's why I retrain all the employees again. I took like 3-hour classes with them. And I send like from my different location, I send personally like people, like as soon as they're walking, they are going to ask for the ID, every single person, like regardless of age of numbers.
So I have to ask, Mr. Patel, you admit your company did sell to a minor.
So
Okay. With that, I'm going to close the hearing. Do I have a motion to close the hearing? Motion by Mary Beth Welch, second by Andrew Sheehan. I have to go through this. David McSweeney.
Aye.
Andrew Sheehan, Dale Demore, Mary Beth Welch, and I vote aye. So it's 5-0-0, so it's closed. Now we do discussion. Is there anything else? Mr. Patel has admitted that they did sell. We do have some dates that have been placed in before, and he has agreed to shutting down the store. Is there anything else we want to say? Then I need a motion to affirm the penalties and the closure dates. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Andrew Sheehan, second by Gail Demore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Patel, thank you for coming.
thank you. And sorry about that, whatever happened. We'll be taking proper action.
Nice to meet you, but I don't want you to come back.
We'll come back for something else, not for this.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you close your store, you still have to post this. Maybe change.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, sir.
Brought the whole team in.
Nonetheless, you know.
This is all my manager and employees.
Oh, excellent.
Why I bring here, people learn here, you know.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very, good night. Discussion, Board of Health Public Participation Policy.
They're closing.
We heard and we received an outstanding set of minutes. Thank you. I don't know who wrote them, but they were outstanding. Thank you very much to our two members, Dale and Andrew, for being part of the subcommittee. Thank you to the two members of the school committee who was there. Who was it? Martha Simons was, and who else? Jeremy Brooks was there. Martha and Jeremy, if you're watching, thank you so much for assisting us and participating in that subcommittee. So I guess this is under advisement right now. It's a good policy. And we don't need to vote on it, but it's right here. And this is what I'm going to abide by. We don't vote on it because the next chairman may not want to agree to do this, but I agree to do this.
That's how the decision is made.
That's it.
There's no discussion.
Wait a minute, I think there was discussion on the time.
On the-
Yes.
I think
We had made,
a recommendation.
Recommendation and the,
But that doesn't necessarily stand unless it's voted on, I thought.
If
Well-
that was the case in the last meeting, the last meeting, we should have had that whatever was put in place in the subcommittee, I would have spoke up. That was,
well, I think our impression was to have a subcommittee, learn what other boards were doing, figure out what was right for us. The high level came back and said, we can choose to do nothing, we can
Yeah.
make change, we can make recommendations. I assumed that this part of the discussion would be where Gail and I, discussed the fact that somebody else put 3 minutes into place. Did we think that was fair for a citizen in front of the board?
Mhm.
We decided that we didn't think it was the
Mhm.
right amount of time and that 5 minutes would be the amount of time allotted to be determined by the 5 of us if that's a fair amount of time for citizens to come forward.
correct. It's a board of 5 who are elected. So I agree with you. If we're going to make a decision to change what's citizen time, what's established as citizen time, it should be a decision of the board of 5.
So we should vote on.
And we should discuss it. Exactly, because there are options. And I thank you for having a subcommittee, but we left that last meeting. I mean, we started this discussion based on to actually remove citizens' time. That was what was put in front of two members that were present for that meeting. And then the next meeting we came and there was a lot of discussion on having a subcommittee to talk about putting a constraint on. So citizens that come in front of us. Citizens' time is for someone to come in and have an opportunity, their right to speak, to articulate their opinions and ideas without interference or retaliation from the government. That's what citizens' time is there for, to speak freely, not to have a constraint or a time constraint to express themselves and speak freely.
I will point out, though, as they have noted, entities are permitted to speak shall be in the sole discretion of the chair or his designee, provided, however, the chair shall, to the best of her ability, to ensure that each individual and or entity who is permitted to speak is allotted an equal amount of time in which to do so. Please comment on that.
What that means then is that if we set a time limit, you would have to remember that any time a citizen came forward, they would get equal amount of extended time if you so choose to let that person extend beyond the limit.
Okay?
I will say too, I remember in the discussion when we talked about this, that when we're talking about the time limit, it came up to keep it under the chair's discretion and not just say like 5 minutes, but to have that be able to be changed in the event that you had a packed room of people who wanted to speak and you didn't have time to listen to them all in 5 minutes. I think that we talked a little bit about that. And that's why we said we better not, you were talking about, okay, that might be a reason why we shouldn't put an actual time frame on it. But I think what they agreed to was in a normal meeting, that 5 minutes was an appropriate time. I think Andrea thought that the 3 minutes was not, because that's what they use at the school committee.
So let me ask you this, Ed, what is the harm in voting on this? I mean, we voted.
I have no problem voting on it.
I'm just trying to understand your point, like if.
The point is, we could go ahead as a board agree to it. So
Well,
I
I'd
have no
like to make a
problem.
motion to keep citizen time exactly as it is. I want to feel comfortable as a resident myself to go in front of any other government board and feel comfortable that I can speak freely, that I can have the allotted time that I need to speak at that board. And to suggest that we, move it to an agenda item could control the content of that individual. That's what citizen time is there.
Is that a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to keep citizen time
Do I have a
exactly
second
it is
to
for the Board of Health. I think we should be worried about what we as the elected officials on the Board of Health, not what other elected board members for their board. They do what's good for their board.
Mary Beth, I agree in theory with what you're saying wholeheartedly. Like I'm not trying to or want to squelch debate or people coming forward to express their ideas. I do, however, think that because of the latest ruling, puts all boards in an awkward position. And I don't think there's any harm in protecting somebody coming in and citing the Gettysburg Address for 3 hours, and we have no way to stop them, right? So like, I'm 100% behind you. I do think we should probably, as a board, make some changes that support the fact that we can have control over, not over the people or what they're saying, but control over the agenda and control over the Board of Health matters. And I think if we don't, we're at risk of somebody coming in and controlling the meeting that has nothing to do with the Board of Health. And we have no way of stopping. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But why not take the opportunity to at least be proactive and prevent something like that from happening? So I'm 100% behind you in theory. I tend to support the recommendation of the subcommittee, with one exception. The only thing I didn't see in there, and maybe this is what you were just going on, Susan, is that there's no limit to like, and I don't know how, maybe this is where the discretion part comes in, that there's no limit. If there's 100 people, we can't have a 3-hour meeting just listening to citizens' time, right? So how do we, and I don't think it addresses that in your recommendation.
Well, I think it did in one part where it was stating like if there were numerous people from the same
Right.
group, they'd have a representative to speak for all 10 of them, for example. So that would help limit, because they're all saying, if somebody's gonna say from the same group, the same thing over and over again.
And how would we know that? How do we know that
Yeah, you
there's a
probably don't.
resident? We don't. So, and everyone has an opinion, even if they're.
And
from
we've
the
had
same group
that.
Differently.
During COVID, we had that, right?
Mhm,
Where,
we
I don't know,
did.
were you the
That-
chair?
that
or
was the first time I-
Well, I was.
Yeah,
in front of
probably
us.
from part of it, but we were able to manage through that. We listened to 50 people, but at some point in time, we said, does anybody have something different or a different idea? We could control it. We don't have that control anymore based upon the new ruling
With
that
the
came
new
down.
ruling.
Right. So maybe it is that piece where it says the discretion of the chair, whoever the chair may be in the future, but like maybe that's where that person. can
Well, we have a
control.
motion on the floor. Does anybody want to second that motion? To do nothing? Then the motion fails. If there's no second. Do we have another motion to adopt the subcommittee's policy with a 5-minute review or whatever you want to?
Yeah, I'm willing to make a motion for at least for discussion purposes to approve the recommendation by the subcommittee.
Do I have a second of that?
Second.
I have a second by Andrew Shear. So we're open to discussion now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of stated what my thoughts were.
I feel similar to you because I understand your point, but I do worry about it getting out of control at some point, and with the new jurisdictions, I don't think we could do much.
Have
And again, the likelihood of something happening, I feel is low, but I do feel like if we have something in place, at least it's something to fall back.
So the one thing that Gail shared at the last subcommittee, at any time, if things did get out of hand, any one of us has the right to stop the meeting. And so therefore, there is a little bit of protection to an unruly citizen's time getting out of hand or really turning nasty towards.
I mean, if you had to, you
So-
could always adjourn the meeting.
Right.
If it's really getting bad, but.
I think,
Why do we
my
do that
point of view,
anyways?
the way I look at this, the way I look at the recommendation is nothing really changes. Unless something happens and we have a pathway to manage it and to prevent overtaking of a meeting. But in my opinion, like citizens' time doesn't change. Like next meeting we come up, we do the same. Go ahead, Susan.
Well, the only thing that will change is that the chairman will have to say at the beginning of citizens' time, I'm allowing everybody
5 minutes.
5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes, however long you want to do it. That will be, and then someone's got to time it. And then make sure at 5 minutes, the person, someone says the person, time's up. The board doesn't have to comment, and that's another thing we talked about. Somebody can come up here and speak for 5 minutes. You don't have to.
You don't have to limit to address this.
Yeah,
Discussion.
and we've had that happen many.
The 5 minutes is that person talking for 5 minutes, not a back and forth with that person.
Yeah.
And that time limit, just ask the question, because I know you had the subcommittee and you engaged other board members. Was there any resident engaged in it or any type of survey done with any resident? Have you speak to any resident of this? Because I've had multiple interaction with residents that's what that time is. They elected us, that's their time. So if we're going to impose, there are some residents that how they deliver information, how they process information, 5 minutes isn't enough time to articulate. So are we making any accommodations for that, or is it just 5?
But isn't that the discretion of the chair as well?
And also they can be placed on the agenda.
So if
But that's the
someone at that
document.
meeting, someone said to the chair, look, I'm going to show up at citizens' time on Tuesday and I have trouble articulating myself, I need more time, or whatever. And the chair could decide, okay, I'm going to allow 15 minutes, but he has to allow that for
Everybody.
So that's that's how you would do it, I suppose.
And you just said citizen time moving to the agenda, and that's what some folks have expressed to me.
Well, it is on the
Citizen-
agenda, right?
Yeah.
I
It's on the
meant
agenda.
to move it to
Well, the
another
topic
meeting,
of
the
the
topic if
next-
we choose to.
No, I'm not in favor of that.
Yeah,
Well,
so that would be
So that you're-
controlling the content of what they're coming in front of us to speak for.
I don't think that would, but that was the intent of that discussion. I think it was more like saying,
Way to handle it.
somebody's coming, I have this problem, they speak for 5 minutes, they stop speaking, and then the board's like, well, we need more time to delve into this. We want to have, more discussion on this. Let's make it an agenda item and then have it at the next meeting as an agenda item. I think that that's the intent of that.
And I thought when things were on the agenda, it would be more of an open discussion, so we could have the back and forth
When it is
conversation.
on the agenda, yeah,
We can
Thing
control.
is,
that, yes, that can be.
that will be controlled content.
Yeah, I mean, so people can't
It's
just
today.
say whatever they want,
No,
like.
That's what I mean. That's. it is
But
today.
the issue becomes if it's,
Should be,
if
different.
that person's not granted agenda time.
right.
Based on the fact that the chair says, no, I don't want that on the agenda.
No, that's why I think that's what we're saying, is like we leave
Yeah,
citizens
done.
time on the
But we're
agenda.
keeping-
When have we,
Right.
yeah, but not in
You know,
35.
If he's bringing something up that's relevant, that we
It has
really.
to be within our jurisdiction, obviously.
Yeah, right, but then we should probably make it an agenda item at a future meeting if somebody
Mhm.
brings up something.
It,
that's-
it may not be, as we've talked about before about citizens' time. People could come and say
Sure.
something that we do not probably want to hear or want to listen to. But that's what
But
citizens'
that's
time
what
is
we
for.
have to listen to.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's what it's for.
No, I don't
mean,
think
that's-
anybody's saying anything.
So I don't think anyone disagrees with it.
I don't, yeah.
So I guess we have a motion. You made a motion
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to adopt the recommendation.
with how many minutes? With 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'm open to that. I think that's fair.
We looked at it in the retrospect, that the school committee had 3 minutes, and we thought that was super short.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were just going back and forth about, well, 10 minutes seems like too long, especially if they're not
Mm-hmm.
talking
Not
about anything
discussion.
to do.
Okay, so you have any? If not, we'll put it to a vote. There's a motion. Do we have a second on that? I'm sorry.
Andrea seconded.
Andrew, I'm sorry. Andrew seconded. To adopt the Board of Health public participation policy, which includes 5 minutes of discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Opposed.
First, aye.
Aye.
4.
Can say
Opposed.
opposed when I
Sure,
want.
now you can say opposed. So 4-1-0.
Can I control when I vote?
No, they say aye first. Affirmative comes first. Okay, which brings us now to reports. Which report do we have first? I got a little hold on 1 second, please. I got all my stuff. There it is. Environmental Engineers Report. Would you like to?
Sure, just a reminder about household hazardous waste coming up on June 3rd at regular time, 8:30 to noon. However, location is at the not at Francis Wyman School, at the Fox Hill School at 252 Fox Hill Road for this event.
And please bring no
Latex paint.
We always go into that. Does anybody have any questions for our environmental engineer?
I think 243 Fox Hill. I saw that there's an investigation. Is that reopened? I don't know who wants to, what's going on with that?
Was that from the last time?
Last
Yeah, that was the,
letter from before? Because the letter was the email was in the last.
Last time.
it was the May 1st complaint.
Which was the last
It's
one.
only, I guess the question is, there's only one.
What was it, a closure or something? Probably that's why it got continued to the next report, right?
Thank you. And then, Brixmor, I know are they planning a?
So I'm gonna send them an appearance letter
Right.
for June. Christine was out there actually today.
I was out there today. I had to go to the UPS store and I drove by there.
Yeah.
I took a great picture as the duck was landing and dove right into the puddle.
I mean, the drainage, what do you call it? Whatever you call it.
Catch basin?
Catch basin was spewed water.
I
Like, it
know.
was like a geyser. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was bubbling up out of the,
I have a video of it if
Yeah.
anyone would like to see it,
yeah.
but we can.
So they obviously didn't do what they committed to doing, right? So I'm assuming.
Well, so they said they were gonna do the
They were gonna-
areas for the winter and they did that. Said they was
They have to remove those,
the cleaning of the basin,
which I don't think they've done.
which
Hope-
doesn't look like it. Yeah.
I hope they didn't do it, because if they did do it, there's a bigger problem, right? But, I mean, either way, it's bad. but-
And again, like, I don't know if I can say, the onus is on them to find the solution.
Right.
Don't know if cleaning the basin is the solution.
We thought that, but we let them have the leeway of trying.
Right, right.
Okay.
Having been out there the last time they cleaned the basins, there's no way they have done that work for this round.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't get in there with the current configuration.
And they're not,
Pump trucks and
you're
whatnot.
not gonna have, like, if they haven't done it and you bring them to the front of the board in June, they're not gonna have time, I don't think, to clean it. I think they had this up.
And there's a lot of approvals.
That's what I'm saying, it's like a state approval.
An endangered species in that pond.
And by the way, and I'm not saying couldn't blow in there anyways, but there was a lot of trash in the wetlands, bottles, and it was pretty tattered looking.
Yeah, I urge everyone, if you haven't gone out there, go take a look. Really, go take a look and take some pictures and some videos. I have some videos. Right.
Christine, could I stop? The investigation, the Middlesex Turnpike with that hydraulic oil release, can you just give a little bit more with that emergency?
Oh, sure, that,
Yeah.
it was a trash truck that blew a hydraulic line in between going up, or going along Middlesex Turnpike, heading southbound between Fourth and Third Ave. And they pulled into a parking lot just before Third Ave and contained the truck until they could repair the hydraulic line. And the release kind of ran up Middlesex Turnpike, then of course cars kept driving through it, so it got dragged further out. So the town the DPW sent a sand truck and sanded the roadway to prevent accidents and to keep the spread of the hydraulic oil from going further. And then the responsible party took over from there and they brought in a street cleaner to pick up the sand the DPW had put down and have the LSP on site to, to record the incident and do the filings with DEP. But it was cleaned up that same day.
I have one question.
Sure.
Prior to your working with the Board of Health, this board spent months and months and months with high voltage engineering site. In 2002, there were huge amounts of contamination, and it's down to approximately 20% of what it was. 4,845 pounds have been removed. It's down to GW1 now status, that's drinking water.
Yes,
So right now, are they still pumping and treating?
they are still pumping and treating.
Okay. Now, what about the 1,4-dioxane?
Well, their system doesn't treat for 1,4-dioxane, so they're basically in a monitoring mode for 1,4-dioxane, natural attenuation type monitoring.
How high is the 1,4-dioxane?
It was 0.097 was the highest detection. And the limit, the cleanup level is 0.3.
Is 0.3, so they have nothing we could do.
Right.
Okay, and, okay, so But that is a really success for what we have done here, this board did over those 20 years. It was a horrible site. It was the first site that we saw DNAPL, and that is floating contamination. You had more than 1 million parts per million, which is not really something that you have to think about, because when they pumped the water out, it was all PCE, TCA, TCE floating on top of the groundwater. So it was really bad. Thank you very much. So where are we going with this now? They're just natural attenuation?
They don't have a proposal to discontinue the pump and treat, so I just assume they'll, they do 5-year periodic reviews. I don't know when, was this a 5-year review? No, this was a status report. So,
2018 is 2023, it's 5 years.
yeah, so they'll, unless they get below GW1 on 1,4-dioxane, they'll just continue with the pump and treat and the natural attenuation.
Okay. And does 1,4-dioxane naturally attenuate? I thought it didn't naturally attenuate very much.
It likes water, so it takes time.
Takes time. Thank you. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the environmental engineer's report?
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Health agent, Marlene Johnson, please.
Good evening. So I participated in the health fair with Samantha Hardy. We had a table on food safety. And so we talked to everybody that was coming by. We lured them in and asked them a couple of questions. We were curious to know if they took food temperatures after they were done cooking food. Some did, some did not. We had, using the FDA grant, we bought some food thermometers. So that was a raffle that we participated in, as well as the grant, we paid for some magnets that had the final cook times of different food items that we give away to everybody. And we also asked people if they were rinsing their raw meats, raw poultry, and or raw fish. So that's no longer recommended. So we had a pretty even mix on that. And this week is very busy. Samantha and I are doing inspections with the outdoor pools. Everybody is anxious to get open before the holiday weekends. It's going well. And I reviewed some keeping of animal applications for some hens. So you'll be seeing at least 2 applicants at the June meeting, possibly 1 at the July meeting. Any questions on my report?
I just have a question about the dogs at the outdoor seating.
Yes. Sure. So you probably heard that Boston has become dog friendly. And so we had a couple of folks call the office, and the way it was presented on the news, it wasn't presented correctly, because Boston, it's dogs are not allowed, pets are not allowed on the premises of a food establishment. Right, so you have to ask for variance. So Boston is issuing variances. And so we've had a few people contact our office, so you may see 1 or 2, maybe 3 come before the board that will be asking for a variance. To allow dogs on the outdoor seating. So we have some conditions. They need to have enough room to have the pet out there on a leash or in a carrier. Making sure that there aren't any food preparation in the area, no storage of tableware in the area outside. A waste receptacle for dog waste. And then there'll be some dog owner responsibilities too that they'll post, such as the responsibility of the dog owner to have the vaccines up to date and to have control of their dog. So
We don't have any now that have that.
we don't. They have to come
in front of the
for variance. So
so many restaurants now that
have outdoor seating.
Well, there's not even that. I mean, the one in Everett, it's just a doggy bar.
Yeah, right.
You know, I asked some people and they were vehemently against this.
It's up to the board. I'm going to go out and I'll take some pictures of what the area looks like, what the proposed area looks like.
To clarify, this excludes service animals. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Go wherever they need to go.
Responsible, well, we'll talk about this one when it comes up, if someone gets bit. Or if someone
But it
has
is
an
a
allergy
restaurant.
attack or someone,
It'd be the restaurant.
be the restaurant.
And they should look into their insurance policies too.
Sure.
And
So
I
you'd
would,
have to understand the risk they're taking if they were to take this on.
and I would want to spell this out. Very good.
Interesting.
Can I just one quick question? I'm sorry, anybody else
No,
first?
that was a good catch. Yeah.
Just curious.
Looks like a lot of new restaurants are opening up. Where is Asian Chow going?
That is going,
Number,
here, Asian Chow. That's going over in the mall.
in the mall?
Yes, yes, it's going into one of the vacant storefronts there.
Very good. And then the other question had to do with HACCP plans. Consultant available to develop HACCP plans. That's a consultant going to do the development or are you going to develop a HACCP plan?
No, I approved the HACCP plan, so the food consultant would put one together and submit it, and I would review it.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Thank you very much. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Do I have a motion to approve the health agent report?
So moved.
So moves Gail, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the Associate Director of Public Health. Would you like to say anything, Michael? It's a wonderful weekend.
Absolutely. Just like to present to the board that we are resurrecting the Matter of Balance classes. Hoping to get those scheduled for the Grandview on Tuesday mornings, early afternoons through September through October. And for the board members who may not know, Matter of Balance manages football falls. It's an evidence-based falls prevention program for older adults. And the goal is to address concerns, increase participants' activity levels with a series of kind of gentle exercises that improve flexibility and balance, as well as to encourage changes in their environment to reduce falls. So it's an 8-week class, 2 hours, once a week, and we'll have 2 trainers from our MRC, and maybe our nurse helping out with that.
And we've already trained the MRC.
We have, I believe, 11 trained volunteers for that.
Now, we had a number of people trained before COVID. Did they have to be retrained?
They did. We ended up having 2 extra classes with Deborah Sullivan from Leahy.
Yes.
Train the trainer.
Yeah.
And there were some changes, mostly the resources for the coaches.
I took that course, yeah. It's worthwhile. I took the course. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Amazing turnout. And a lot of the vendors asked as I was going through, how many attendees do we have? How do we keep track?
So we had 216 raffles that we'd given out. So we did try to keep a clicker account, but that didn't quite match. So I'm guessing, some folks didn't sign up for the raffles. So anywhere from probably that 216 up to about 250 would have been in attendance.
Okay, great.
But it felt very busy.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pretty busy.
Huge attendance, a lot of vendors.
And inside was one.
Oh, and that was.
Inside was nice, especially when it started raining.
I also thought it wasn't as spread out, like when it was on the common, so you missed vendors, and I think some of the vendors, and I talked about that a lot too, so I think that they actually asked me, it's bigger next year, where are we going? I said, to the other gym. So, yep.
We have room to expand.
That's right, nicely done.
Do I have a motion to approve the Associate Director of Public Health?
So moved.
I have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Director of Public Health, and that includes the Associate Health Inspector. Does anybody have any questions around the associate health inspector's work. Not, we'll go to the Director of Public Health. Do you have anything you'd like to report?
Just on the public health excellence grant for fiscal year 24, I don't know if you saw it in my report, but we're receiving an additional 145,000 for this year. So that's a total of 445,000 for next fiscal year. And in my report, I included our work plan for the fiscal year. So I needed to come up with 4 different objectives. And then around those, have some goals, and then how we're gonna achieve them, who's gonna work on them. So I don't know if you have any question on that, but I can elaborate on that more. But I think in general, kind of this next fiscal year, what I'd like to do is get the people established, get it so that they know what's happening in the different communities, start attending different meetings in the 3 different communities, start making contacts. The epidemiologist looking at some data to try to determine, next year, not this fiscal year, but the next following fiscal year, the goal would be to try to start a strategic plan. So let's collect the data now, get all that data in place, and then begin with the strategic plan, and then have that whole group kind of work together in doing that for the region. So we started up, we're going to be doing like weekly meetings with that staff and just figure out what they're working on and, where the other communities want them to focus, and then, but basing it on some data, which we've never really actually had, or had the time to kind of collect and figure out where should we put our programs and who are the people that we're trying to reach. So that's kind of like, it's like 4, a written page for each objective, but it's kind of it.
Yeah, that was great. Are the other communities, are they as engaged? Do you feel like they're as engaged as you are?
So we're the lead community.
Yeah.
So it's my responsibility to do the work.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So they are, we're trying to get them engaged, trying to get them thinking of ideas of things that we can work on. So for example, our community health outreach worker has already attended some meetings in Wilmington, and is going to be attending additional meetings there, having to do with I think it's opioids that they were looking at. And then they also started shadowing the public health nurse in Wilmington, trying to get their feel for what she's doing. They started doing some trainings, like on Maven, things like that. So yeah, I mean, and then I know that, Lexington wants to get the community health outreach worker and the nurse may be involved in the opioid thing. And we actually in Burlington have a meeting coming up with regarding the opioid settlement. I'm going to have the community health outreach worker come to that meeting with us. So just to kind of make contacts, get an idea of things that we're working on. And one of the things that I like the epidemiologist to look at is collecting data on opioids. I mean, at one point it was a real problem, like where is it now? And what does the data look like now? So I'm going to have her look at some of those types of things.
Awesome.
First of all, the room looks great. The room looks great. I had a wonderful meeting with the epidemiologist. We talked about hotspots within the community. I gave her some ideas. Our nurse that we hired is highly credentialed. He is just brilliant. And our outreach, she's so positive. So 3 of them, are they going to be in that office on a regular schedule or just when they need to? Are they going to come to, for instance, I was up there on a Friday. They were there for a certain amount of hours. Will they be each week at a certain time there?
So I've asked them to kind of keep their schedules regular if they can, although, if they have to change it for 1 week just to let me know in advance. So most of them, they're like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesdays is usually a day when they're all there. But if they had to take a Tuesday off, they could come in on Monday or Friday. I mean, I'm allowing them to flex the hours. And also too, they might not be in the Burlington, they might be attending meetings in Wilmington or Lexington, so they might be out of the office for that, so.
A great office.
We're still trying to figure out, you know, the logistics of everything too, so.
And second question, $145,003. We're getting, maybe you should announce that we are getting more money than we originally thought we were gonna get from the state, which will make it $1 million grant. So.
Three of us will take it.
No, $145,000 will take us up. So we've been, is it offered or is it in stone?
That number is in stone for next fiscal year.
The next fiscal?
Yes, so for year 24. And then I don't know, you know, it's gonna be at least 300 for the
Yeah.
following fiscal year, but could be higher.
300, and we get more than that for the administration
Yeah,
grant.
right.
So
Fantastic.
do I have a motion to approve the Director of Public Health's report?
So moved.
Motion, second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Before we adjourn, ask for a motion to adjourn, just want to say, we have Memorial Day coming up. I wish everybody a happy, a healthy and safe Memorial Day from the board, and careful out there. It's an interesting time of year. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Gail, second by Andrew, all in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.